Friends, you're here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and we are going to be talking about lovely, lovely lemongrass in Witchcraft. So before I go sit down and reach from some of my books for you, I want to kind of give you a close-up of it. Let you hear it. And it smells like lovely tea, like herbal, just lovely herbal tea. So sit down with me while we learn about lemongrass both in witchcraft and medicinal herbalism. Alright? I also thought we'd listen to a little bit of music while we did this video, and what did I put in? Oh yeah. I put in a little Skinner. I know it's controversial, but I like music not for politics, but for the music itself. So there you go. So, come back if you're wondering about lemon balm, because I'm doing lemon balm video next. But this video is just on lemongrass, okay? So, lemongrass and witchcraft. Let's find out how we can use it. Now, some of my most common books, I couldn't find either lemon balm or lemongrass in any of these books, only in these. So, that was a bummer, but it just goes to show, you know, some of these things we have to think of our own intentions for, and we have to practice using them and see how it works. So, I always start out by doing any working, and my witchcraft text and my books are magical tools to me. So I spray Florida water on my hands, clap to call spirit in, and then after my hands dry, because it's an alcohol base, I'll light my candles. And I like to put a little bit of Florida water on my books. You know, it is one of my favorite witches out there, Primitive Roots, calls it spiritual Purell, and I think that's such a clever word. So, let's talk about where and how I got my lemongrass. Well, I did a video and told you guys all about the bulk bins in grocery stores and health food stores. I wasn't able to actually film in the health food store that I wanted to film in, because I always ask. I know not everybody asks, but I'm one who asks. So I'd asked and they said no, and that's okay. But I did come home and do a video and show you guys how you can, I told you about the whole process. You go and you collect them in little bags, and instead of paying $5 for this, you pay 30-40 cents for the bulk bin of loose herbs. So if I remember to, I'll attach the video. If not, just search the Taxidermy Witch bulk bin herbs, and it tells all about how to do that. So that is my biggest suggestion on how to save money in herbalism, other than going and foraging it yourself, right? Alright, so lemongrass. First book that we're going to find it in is this book, Supermarket Sabbats, and that's by Michael Furie, F-U-R-I-E. Now, in this book I enjoy it because it gives you the polarity. So lemongrass, the element is air, the planet is Mercury, the polarity is Yang, Y-A-N-G, and the the magical uses are psychic awareness. Excellent. That's what we got out of that. And now we'll go on to lemongrass in Scott Cunningham, Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. Okay, so there's not a ton to be said about it. It's just a snippet in here, and there's no picture shown. I wonder why. And there's no lemon balm in this book. What is going on, Scotty? So I don't know why it's omitted from here. But gender is masculine. The planet is Mercury. The element is air. The powers: repel snakes. That's so funny because my last herbalism video on clover repelled snakes as well. And there's very few things that repel snakes. So the powers of lemongrass: repel snakes, lust, and psychic powers. The magical uses: Lemongrass, planted around the home and in the garden, will repel snakes. It is also used in some lust potions, as well as an infusion to aid in developing your psychic powers. So the oil lamp I did with the psychic awareness that I burn at night while I'm sleeping, I could definitely add some lemongrass into there. Alright, so that's all that there was from that. Sad, but at least there was something from Scotty, which I'm really happy about. And now we're on to lemongrass in Scott Cunningham's book of Magical Herbalism. And I believe there's only one. Yep, lemongrass shows up on page 111. And on page 111, it gives like a little snippet about it. Under the chapter which is called Scented Oils and Perfumes. And in this chapter, I believe we're talking about an essential oil. You know, a pure essential oil. Lemongrass. An aid in psychic powers. Wear on the forehead. So right on the third eye, the pineal gland. Your sixth chakra, right in between your eyebrows. If you have, you can make this into an oil or a tincture yourself, or a simple. Okay? A simple is when you just do a tincture out of one herb alone. You could do it into a simple and put it there. You could get some essential oil and put a dot there. Those run about $10 for a tiny, tiny bottle. Get organic, you guys, especially if you're going to put it on your face. So, wear on the forehead. Spiritualists and mediums use it, for it helps make contact with spirits. You guys, this is a biggie. If you're trying to do divination, if you're trying to do tarot readings, if you're trying to do any kind of spirit work, conjure, hoodoo, excellent, excellent stuff. Also with meditations, I get in touch with my spirits and things that I work with, sorry, this is bothering me, in meditation. So, excellent information. Thank you, Scotty. Okay. So now we are on to David Hoffman's The Herbal Handbook, a user guide to medicinal herbalism. Now I have to say something about this book before I start reading. I have had this book since I was, I believe, 17 years old, and I've been into herbalism since I grew up on a farm, and my earliest memories of being 3 years old. So my earliest memories, I'm out in the woods picking presents for God is what I used to call it. And we weren't particularly religious at that age. I started going to Catholic church and church in general more around like 6, 7. So interesting how when we look back at things, what we're doing, what we're up to, where we're at. So on lemongrass, there's 2 parts in this book where it talks about it. Now again, this whole book is based on medicinal things, not magical. So I have to tell you that I'm not a doctor. I know a lot about this stuff from massage school, extensive anatomy, aromatherapy classes, things like that. But I am definitely not a doctor in any right. I am sharing information with you from doctors and books on herbalism. Okay, lemongrass, when we were talking about aromatherapy. An invigorating oil that cleanses oily skin. Alright, that's interesting and good news to know. So if it cleanses oily skin, you could make it into a, you know how we talked about putting it on our face for magic? Well, why couldn't you put it into your facial toner? So not only it would cleanse your oily skin, but and maybe, you know, dry it out a little bit, because that's what you would need, but also raise your psychic awareness by keeping especially your third eyes right in the T-zone of oiliness. Why not? And I just thought of that right now, right? Like, we think of these things together as we're going along, and then you see me start to glow and beam because I'm happy. Because I feel like by doing this digital, you know, Book of Shadows or grimoire for myself, I'm also helping you guys, and I'll continue to help you for the rest of time as long as these videos are up. So I'm really excited about that. Sorry for the rant and tangent there. Now let's see. So that was it on lemongrass. Now, come back for my next video on lemon balm, because Scott Cunningham has tons of things to say about it, but only in 2 books. Only these 2 books have lemon balm. So make sure to come back for that. Thank you for joining me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, while we did a nice, short 10-minute video, short for me, on beautiful lemongrass and witchcraft. Look how lovely that is. Kiss your things, guys. They'll love you back.